There. Okay, I was gonna make some adjustments here because I'm very particular about angles. Okay, well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show, episode 7 of Meanwhile Back at the Ranch. And a very merry Star Wars Day to you, friendos. I have already been celebrating. I watched The Phantom Menace earlier today while I was editing. So, I'll probably be watching, Star Wars movies throughout the whole upcoming weekend. I don't need an excuse though. I'm a big time Star Wars fan. I love sci-fi, fantasy. Well, I mean, I love TV movies, anything basically, but in particular, I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I love Star Wars. So I'm really and I don't really celebrate a whole lot of holidays. So even if it's just, hey, have an excuse to watch the movies for the billionth time, I go for it. So it works for me. I I am I'm probably, I've never heard it said before by anyone, but I'm sure there's tens of us out there. I'm one of those people who really like the prequels, but I don't like the sequels at all. I hate them. Meaning I like the Anakin stories that the first two prequels do, most modern ones. They to me it just doesn't jive with the rest of the series. The last three ones, it's one of those 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag to me, because it's so convoluted, and I really don't like the character of Rey, and I don't like anything that, or Ben Solo, and I don't like anything that happens with any of them or any of the things that are going on in the story. And they have new characters that they bring in and they just waste, like Poe and Finn, and I would have rather seen more of them. I like BB-8, of course. But and I also, I'm not looking forward to the further sequels of, I'm pretty much over the whole Jedi thing at this point. It was good for what it was, but at this point I really don't want to see it anymore. I'm super sick of it. I don't like I said, I didn't like any of the Rey stuff, and I super hated the way that the third movie ended. I didn't like the third movie at all, as a matter of fact. I didn't like the way that she just decided she was going to be a Skywalker now. Like, all right, whatever. So, and then she's coming back for more installments of whatever they just announced at the announcement thing, whatever it was, the Disney announcements that they make. So, I just find the whole thing very boring and convoluted, so I'm not looking forward to that. I do love The Mandalorian, though. I mean, and, Grogu. I think everybody loves Grogu, but I love Mando, and I really enjoyed the last season of that just wrapped up a few weeks ago, and Book of Boba Fett is good, too. And, you got a whole universe of characters out there, so I'm really just hoping for more content away from the standard whole Jedi Skywalker saga. Really sick of it. Not my thing. I look and I have feedback about them, but for me, I really liked them. I really liked the story, and seeing, the entire Anakin backstory about how all that comes together, and I think the story flows really well into the original trilogy. Got a little bit of Leia's background and upbringing in the Obi-Wan show, which I liked. I think not realm, there's no shortage of manpower or money in the Disney world, so I'd like to just see it expanded a little bit. Except for right now, because, you know why? Because the writer's strike is on, which is excellent. So always make sure that you support workers, because you are one, and support unions. Join one if you can, or unionize your workplace, and really get behind these striking workers. And this one's really popular. The railway workers didn't get the kind of fanfare that this is getting, because this affects, so many more people in their face, like what they see. So, they're like, what about my Marvel movies? Well, what about your Marvel movies? Somebody's got to write them, and they need to get paid. So, and if you can see the WGA's list of these gigantic companies are just like, no, we're not going to pay you and we're going to keep making things worse, which is stupid because they'll say like cost you billions of dollars and then eventually you're going to have to agree to our terms. So it's stupid. Don't get on the side of these corporations. They are not anybody's friend. So workers all the way, support the workers. Yeah, there's going to be a horrible rise of more reality television shows. And now what's different between the writer's strike of 2007 and this one is now we have AI that writes things. Yay! So get ready for that. Get ready for just the most um, programming that people are going to try to get away with. But this is worth it. This is a good thing. And a lot of people who aren't unionized and don't know about unions don't know these things until something big like this happens where it's, right in your face and right about what's going on. But there are other unions out there that are always fighting for the rights of their workers, like I said, the railway workers. So if you are in the areas where they're currently striking and picketing and you have the means, take them some, take them some food, take them some donuts, take them, give them a little support, honk your horn at them, give them a wave at least. So but remember, this is a good thing. And we here at Meanwhile Back at the Ranch / the Million Movie Project Presents support the strike, and we're super excited about it. Not gonna love how networks are gonna try to strike back by canceling a lot of popular shows, but it always ultimately leads to better content when the workers get what they deserve, they rightly deserve, and they're really not being unreasonable. They're not asking for the stars and the moon, but we are in a different era now with streaming. And I think probably a lot of you have heard about and noticed how the streamers will just kick content off of even the most popular and original things because they don't want to have to pay residuals to the writers. They don't want to have to pay, taxes on these properties. But if you see what the residuals really are to writers, it's literally like 1 cent per writer. Like this is costing these companies nothing. They're just being assholes because they're assholes. That's really all that it comes down to. Corporations are literally that bad that they would, cut their nose off to spite their face because they're going to have to meet these agreements anyways. And the last strike lasted 100 days. That's a third of the year, and it's also how we ended up with the Geico Gecko point of interest. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of stupidity happening pretty soon when the scripted episodes run out. So we're going to see a lot more very bad reality television, and we're going to see, which you may have already noticed was on the rise because they don't have to pay writers for that or actors basically. So, so that's going to get worse. And then we're going to start seeing the first generation of, people trying to get ChatGPT to write their scripts and screenplays for them, and that's going to go very badly. There's a few movies out there right now that seem like they've already been written that way. That one I just saw, well, I guess it wasn't just saw, but saw recently was called You People. It was on Netflix. It was terrible, and it literally felt like it was written by AI. But anyway, Star Wars Day. So enjoy yourself some Star Wars. Have a good time. With all of that, any reason to celebrate is a reason to celebrate in this horrible existence of sadness and yelling into the void that we have. So support workers and enjoy yourself some Star Wars this weekend. And I'm pretty excited, as you could tell, with the timing of the show lined up. Move on from that, because that's a little taste of what the Million Movie Project Presents is like. If you want to hear more of me going on about movies and TV and such, that's where you would want to see my other show. What looks exactly like this, except that my shirt changes. So if you like shirts that change. I'm kind of in a weird place in my head right now. I don't know if it's coming through or not, but it's just sort of just like cartoon organ grinder music going on up here right now because I mentioned this, I think. You know what? I don't know. I don't know what I've mentioned at this point because I am losing my goddamn mind. I am so far into this last edit of my book, Another New World, that I wasn't planning on doing until I kind of developed a new method of editing that I hadn't done before, because this entire project has basically been stuff I hadn't been and I've still probably got, I'm estimating a couple more weeks to go. It's been about 6 weeks now, 6 weeks. And I'm just writing, like working on it every day to the point of exhaustion. Um, at the end of the day, I finish up and I'm just completely Looney Tunes. It's just, I'm delirious from it. And it's going to be, it's a good thing. It's not a good thing for me right now, but this is really the only thing that I've stopped to do in the last few weeks. My house is a mess. I needed to clean some things. I'm barely getting around to doing any of that kind of stuff. I'm just, working endlessly. And I'm about to lose my marbles over it. This particular project is in its 5th year now, which is way longer than I've ever had to spend on any kind of writing project ever. This is so involved and so much more different and difficult than anything I've ever had to do before. And further, it's a 13-year project because, that's back when I started the Buster research and working on my movie, Oh Buster, Where Art Thou? Which you probably have heard me talk. Well, I mean, you would have heard me talk if you watch my other episodes. But if for whatever reason you're just tuning in for the first time, you can see, and I hope you enjoy it. And this book is the, would you fudge off? No, you can't do things with my contacts right now in the middle of a stream, YouTube. Okay, so everything's going great. Don't you love technology? So I do. So anyway, wherever I was, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you can watch the movie here on my channel, or just search it, whatever, and you'll get there one way or the other. You can find it on Google too. You could just throw it whatever your preferred method of finding things is. Just use that and you'll find it. It's out there. And I'm now, this book is the follow-up to that movie, because the movie is his life as told by, biographically, as told by friends, family, historians, fans. Like, they all can, a lot of people contribute to the story of his life who knew him and who admire him and who have studied him. So you get kind of an overview. Well, not kind of, you get with the movie, you get an overview of his life. But with this book, Another New World, it is a closer examination of the last 20 years of his life. Primarily his personal life. There's definitely, personal and work, especially for creatives, are basically the same thing. But this is, I put the magnifying glass on those last 20 years and really put you in the world of the Keatons and Buster, and give you the chance to learn from the inside, let's say. So I've taken all of these things that I've been working on all of these years, and then this one, and if you've been watching in the previous episodes, you know that for various reasons there's been delays and difficulties. There's like a tiny, I'm so easily distracted. There's the tiniest little gnat flying around, and I don't even know how it got into this deep into the interior of my home, but I can see it. Okay, great. Or maybe it's not even there, honestly. I could be hallucinating it at this point. I'm so tired. But I'm kind of conditioned myself to work like that. It's really not like this is that unusual for me. It's just been a little. Can you hear that? It's a giant airplane taking off across the street. I never know what comes through and what doesn't. Sometimes Pan comes in here and starts making a bunch of noise, and sometimes, just a minute ago, there was the goosening was happening in the front yard. It's goose season out there, and they were fighting or something. So that was going on. But anyways, and that's not in my head. I did not hallucinate them. I saw them for sure. I know that they were there. But as far as this book goes, it's we're getting closer to the end. I was able to finally say in my last episode of this show that it finally does have a release date. You will be able to see it, Jesus. You will be able to purchase it, assuming everything goes correctly and there's no big issues or, that kind of a thing. on November 25th of this year coming up. It will coincide with the Small Business Saturday, they call it, which it wasn't on purpose. It's just because that's kind of we kick off the selling season at that point, and I needed to give myself as much time as I could with it not being so open-ended, because there's just a lot of times when I'd come here and been like, it's a coming, just take my word for it, I swear. But no, it really is. And I finally was able to put a fine point on that. So if there's any way that I can move that date up, I will, but I really wouldn't count on it. I would say if you're really excited about it, mark your copy. It'll look like it should, and be formatted the way that I want it to be. Which reminds me, my formatting style, I wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up on this, because I realize people kind of process information in different ways. And some people that have things like, dyslexia, or maybe aren't really, neurotypical, can have difficulty reading things in a standard novel format, which this is. It is a biography, but it is a true to form, everything almost as much as it can be, biographical book. It's just my style is, I come to the table as a fiction writer. So for me, I had to work to my strengths, and I was able to take all of the research, all of the information, all of the interviews, and funnel them into this portrait, this last 20 years portrait. So it's not and then they did this, and then they did that. It's immersive, as if you were reading a storybook, like a novel. It's just not fiction. It's nonfiction. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I've got some more to say about that in a little bit. But anyway, point is, I wanted to stick with one thing at a time here. Focus. Okay, so the formatting of the way that I write, and I've been doing it this way for probably since I was in high school. I don't really care for novel writing, like like indented paragraph immediately followed by the next indented paragraph immediately followed. I take a kind of like almost poetic kind of view. Here, let me see. I think actually I've got it, shows in this. Yeah, okay. Don't worry about what the words say. They'll be backwards anyway, but maybe you can see there. This is my Sorry Charlie book. But there is space between, the thoughts, and it kind of works. It's almost like the way poems are written. And I've used that thing for visual aids so many times. It's almost the way that poems are written. Kind of the sonnet style, with like block of text, line break, block of text, line break. And to me, I don't know that it's necessarily got anything to do with like neurodivergence. I have no idea, but I am an easily distracted person. So if I'm sitting there reading a book or whatever it may be, and I get distracted, I can look down and visually kind of more remember easier where I was, rather than scanning the page like, oh, I was about halfway, I think, because I just don't like it all crammed together like that. It just kind of, I think it's more difficult and time consuming, and I think that it has a neater, not neat like cool, but like neater like neat, neater format, without the indentation and then the immediately proceeding paragraph right after. But there's a little room to breathe in there, and I think that is a help to people who again might be easily distracted like me, or it just, there's a better visual order to it, I think. But it does tend to lead to a higher page count, so do count on that. This is not as much as I'm trying to do going to be like a 1,000-page book, even with the extra spaces that I use and that kind of a thing, and the line breaks. It's when after it gets formatted for whatever size, because I don't really want it the size of a magazine. It's going to be like regular book size that you could like hold, but or I guess read off your device, whatever. It should be, I have to double check about everything, like how it's all going to go, like how everything works, what all kind of versions of it I can make, because I did go through the independent publishing process some years ago when I published Sorry, Charlie, but it's been a while, so I don't know what updates have been added. I don't know what's new, what's different, so I have to rework my way back through that process. But ideally, and I tentatively can say there'll be a hardback, there'll be a paperback, a digital version, and I don't know about audio yet. I don't want to commit to that because I obviously don't want like an AI reading it. So if there's an audio, it would probably be me doing it. So you get more of this. But the audio is just, I just don't know. That one's up in the air. But the other ones I think will be there, and they will be moderately and reasonably priced because there's going to be a lot of really good stuff in there. But there's no point in having that if I put it all up at a pedestal and don't make it affordable to people. And I'm also not one of those people who's against sharing. Like, share it with people. I'm totally fine with that. Like, if I didn't need money, I wouldn't care about it, And that's another reason. I talked about this more in detail in my previous episodes, so you can roll back and listen to that there. But the reason, again, just a quick recap, that I'm pursuing, because at first I thought that traditional publishing was going to be the way to go. And then I did more research on it and found out it's actually a terrible industry where you're just basically supporting corporations. And what do I hate? Corporations. We've been down that road already in this episode. So it enables you to buy the book basically straight from me, so where I get most of the royalties of the book, and I don't sell the rights to the book to a company who can then edit it any way they want to, choose the cover work and whatever they want to do, or basically do anything they want to it. And once I realized that, and they pay me almost nothing for it. So, because, I'm not like, because traditional publishing is basically reserved for, the sportsman who writes, I throw football good, and a murderer, and famous people, it really doesn't do the people who are, not super well known in the industry any good, or don't have a great big profile, or well known celebrities or whatever. So independent publishing is definitely going to be the way that I need to go and the way that I want to go, because I did not work this hard and continue to work this hard to be as accurate and correct and just absolutely holding my own feet to the fire to make sure everything was just unbelievably right, as much as any person who could make it, who wasn't there without their time machine. So I would absolutely not agree to give that to a company, to let them then have carte blanche to do whatever they wanted to it, because, as I've said before, I don't want to short sell it and be like, it's boring, but it's just not, but it's not, there's no car chases. It's not like ultra excitement mode, action mode. If I could have done that, I would have done that. I'm a fiction writer, okay? But I didn't do that on purpose because I wanted it to be as true to form, as realistic, as believable, as fact checkable, go ahead, as I could possibly make it. So that's where, this is coming in, where I have control over it. And if you're going to buy a book, if I was going to buy a book from somebody who put, their life as into it, or just even if they didn't, but it was just their work, whatever, I don't want to pay a corporation a bunch of money and then get like pennies off of their hard work, right? Like, you would want to give that to, if you're going to buy it anyways, you would want to give that to the person who made it, That's the way I feel about it anyways. So, so that's what you will be able to do if you, when you purchase from me, having it be independently published. Yeah, I got to use Amazon to do it, but we're at, I think, at a point at this time in our lives where Amazon is unavoidable. And I don't like it any more than you do. It's the real life by and large, and I don't love it for sure. But they offer these services, and if I wasn't going to take advantage of these services, what would be the point, and I'm, the starving artist thing is real, so if you're going to buy it from me, and it makes sense, I think, to that you buy the product, I don't mean buy it from me personally, like I send it to you. I mean, but if you're going to buy it through Amazon, as me, an independent writer who has independently published it, then that means I get, about 70% of the royalties from it, lest they take a fee in the cost of making it. Whereas I would get, I think it would be probably less than 10%, were I going through a corporation who, again, could, a major publishing company who could then, because they bought the rights for just a few $1,000s, could do whatever they wanted to do to it. So, again, you can go and hear me go on about that in my previous episode. I get a little more in depth about that, but that's why I'm doing that, because a lot of people have kind of a negative point of view about independent publishing. They feel like maybe it's not as professional, but it really just depends on who you are and what your skills are, what your budget is. A lot of people who independently publish have to look to other people to do a cover design or editing, and I'm a professional editor, and I'm a professional designer, and a professional artist. So I really already have all of those skills that I can tie in together to make one big thing. So this is going to have, as I say, the story of the last 20 years of Buster's life, and really bring in his friends and family and make this big contextual world that you'll be able to jump into as if you were reading fiction. And there's going to be photographs. There's going to be some special surprises in there. I'll have my own cover design going. So this is going to be all of this work brought together in one way, one place. And I'm working as hard as I am on it to make sure I have enough time to get everything done, because I still have a really huge to-do list with it. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be, I won't crack up completely, and I'll be able to be done with this final for real, final done, no more editing edit. Because I will think of another reason to do another edit, but I'm not going to. This is enough. I can't do anymore. I cannot. So, so there's that. So something else, and while I'm on this topic, I know I've been pretty clear about it here because I can ramble on and I can make my point. But I've been fielding a few questions through social media recently, and even though I describe it very clearly as a nonfiction novel, I think that people are just seeing the word fiction and they're confused, or novel and they're confused, because I've been fielding some questions recently where people think that it's fan fiction and are asking me point blank if it's fan fiction. And I'm telling you, not in the least, not even remotely. In no universe is it fan fiction. And I'm not against fan fiction. Have your fun, do your thing. But this is, this couldn't be further from that. This is a biography. It's just done in a way that it feels like you were, going to be reading a book instead of reading a point to point biography. There's a lot of that. I understand the James Curtis book is very thorough. And so if you want a moment to moment, point to point biography, there's plenty to choose from. This is something completely different that's never been done before in the Buster world. And you should think of it in terms of, I don't want to compare myself to them in this way, and I've said this before, but just to give you an idea, In Cold Blood by Truman Capote is a nonfiction novel, and Roots by Alex Haley is a nonfiction novel. So it is a novel based on truth. So that's what this is. And I'm going to try to, I guess, just describe it as a biography going forward, or just try to get more wordy with it in my post. If you're talking to somebody about it, let them know that no, it's not fan fiction. It's accurate as it could possibly be. So, just an FYI on that. I don't know if that's the prevailing understanding. I just had been fielding some questions here recently where people were like, is it fan fiction? What is it? And I'm like, well, I've described it a bunch, but people don't read. So they don't read, what's going on or posts or whatever. They just kind of scan for the name Buster Keaton and then expect me to do the rest. And it's fine. I don't mind answering it. I'll answer 1,000 times if people want me to. It's fine. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. That it's just that I don't know if it's me that's not been as clear as I should have been, or if it's just hard to understand the concept of nonfiction novel. I could see it both ways. So once again, completely to clarify, unquestionably, a biography. It is just formatted like a novel. Okay? Okay. We're going to move off of that now. So I'm sure I'll bring it up 1,000 more times, but you know, for intents and purposes here, I think we've covered it. So, I've got there's another thing I'm kind of kicking around. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Well, not like literally, but like the best way to do it, the best utilization of it, because I'm using it seems like people are gravitating a lot to my Facebook page, rather than like following me on like Twitter or you know anything else. Um, they seem to come to the Facebook page, and I don't really want to keep using my Facebook page for advertising purposes. So I've been thinking about. Plus, also, I'm running into the problem where I'm an artist, and I put out art, and I sell it on Redbubble. I'm a writer, and I write stuff, and I'm writing this book. Um, I make movies. You know, they're out there too, and most people don't do those things. Like they'll have one thing that they do and they stick with it, right? Which is cool, fine. Not exactly the point, but I'm trying to show that these things are one. You know, I'm trying to bring them together under one umbrella, and that really hasn't been working for me at this point because it's kind of confusing, I think, to people that like what do you do? Like, you know, like because you know, how do it's just confusing, I think. So I've been thinking about starting like a Facebook page for my stuff where I can share artwork, I can share updates, I can share the links to these videos, I can share, you know, information about the movie. You know, if it surpasses a certain thousands of views or whatever, you know, I could say something about that there. But I don't know. I mean, like, it's kind of hard to like get people to like come there and be there and, you know, be in there and interested in that. So I'm still kind of kicking around the best way to utilize it because I need a way to put everything in one place, basically, is what I'm trying to do. And that doesn't really do me any good for the other websites, but it seems that I'm getting the most attention on Facebook in the last few months or whatever. And I don't feel super comfortable using my Facebook just as a means of advertising. So that's where my head is at. I don't exactly know how I'm going to work out the details yet or when to do that, but that's coming in the future. That's something that I'm working towards, having a place where everything is. Because I also have, you've seen it, a lot of you, it was on the cover, the summer edition of last year. Yeah, the summer edition. It's not summer yet. The summer edition of the Keaton Chronicle last year. The cover was my painting that I wanted to use as the cover for the book. But when I was still in the mindset of going traditional publishing, I didn't know if I was going to get to do that. But now I will because I am. So, doing it my way. And so that'll kind of bring some stuff together, but the book is a follow-up to the movie, which will also include my artwork, you know, so I understand how it can get a little confusing. There's so many moving parts here. So I'm looking towards starting the Facebook page, which I hope you guys will join me there, so that you can, you know, you can find out what I'm doing more readily than waiting for me to update, you know, my other stuff, because I kind of, you know, I'm not so good at keeping up with social media, but I think that's probably going to be the way things have to go so that I can get everything together and make sense of it, and not constantly bombard people on my regular page where it feels like I'm advertising. So that's something to watch out for, and that's about as far as I can get with information as far as that coming. And I don't know what it's going to be called yet, or, you know, it's basically meant to be like I don't want to say archive exactly, but like an aggregate of the things that I'm doing and working on. And when this book is done, after a significant rest, I'm going to have another book coming right after that. Won't be Buster related, but I do have more Buster stuff in the pipeline. I've got a cookbook coming and several other works, a book of my art, and a book of Because kind of top secret. But these are, kind of years in development. It takes a long time. Nothing's going to take as long as this has. Even my other books. But once this is done, I do write other things. I don't just live in Buster's life. And I'm very much looking forward to getting a break from it. This book has been really like, and the movie, to an extent, it's sort of been like the best and worst thing that's ever happened to me simultaneously, because it's just been, I can't really explain it any further than that, because it's just, there's been high highs and low lows, and it's the workload and the personal toll that it's taken. I don't want to complain, because I'm doing this as my own free will. Nobody's forcing me to do this, like, it's just, it's art is hard. that's really all I can say about it. And then this particular book has been the hardest project I've ever had to work on. The movie, equally, if not a close second, equally. So this has asked a lot of me, and it's made it so I've had to put a lot of my other projects on the back burner now for years. I have a book, the next book that's going to be coming. We can count this as an announcement. The next book that I'm going to be putting out after this one, non-Buster related, is a paranormal thriller, and it's called The Big Bad Wolf. And it's scary. So it scare you. Give you nightmare. And make you have to put the book in the freezer. I hope. I'm not really a horror person too much. I like scary, but I don't like bleh, like bleh, it's not my thing. So it's scary, I think, and people have read different versions of it over time and said this is scary, so I've gotten some feedback on it already. It's one of those things I've been working on for many years, on and off, because it initially started, I'd say probably a good 12-15 years ago, as a screenplay. And I realized I did not like to write screenplays, and I did not want to do that, and I stopped doing that. So then about 5, 6, 7 years ago, not exactly sure, developed it into a novel format, a fiction novel this time, because it's fiction. But then I had to leave it because I picked up this project, and I figured, well, I do this one, and because it's just, this is a sensitive thing. Some of the people that I, talk to and I interact with, historians or people who've known Buster, some have already passed away, and we went through a pretty significant period of deaths here in the last few years. So this to me felt like it was a little more time sensitive. If I wanted to get any more of the information that I wanted to get, or follow up on anything. But I've been collecting information for 13 years that's going to go into all of this. The research has been absolutely intense and heavy, because I have questions too, and I'm constantly checking to make sure that I'm correct on what I'm saying. Did I put this in the right order? Where was this shot? Was it live? Was it, did anybody save a tape of it? Was it pre-recorded? Things like that. So just these little minute things that I'm not willing to compromise on. So after this book comes out, I'm in about a year. So I guess it'll be 2025. Then The Big Bad Wolf will be ready for release, and then probably about a year or so after that, the Keaton cookbook, will be ready for release. But I don't really want to. And then I've got a series in the works. I've got several series in the works. Honestly, my working list is just a mile long. But just to give you some idea, the next thing after that, at some point in the next few years coming, is going to be the first installment of a well, I call it a Western, but it's not traditional Western, like, cowboys and all that exactly. It's just that it's set post-Civil War, and it's, so it's in that world, but it's not like the West of Western type of a thing. So it's more historical fiction. And it's called Fields of Gold, and I have intended for that to be a very long, well, not long like in terms of long, but like a long-standing project. It's going to be a universe of that I'm developing, and that actually is something, I think this happens to writers a lot. I started trying to write that story when I was 15, 16 years old. and I'd been working on it on and off, but it was something that was so difficult for me, and to kind of wrap my head around. It was bigger than I could really make it, you know? So, and actually, interestingly, it wasn't until it all started to really click with me, like, what am I trying to do to make sure I'm not going to just end up writing, bonanza episodes, right? Because I never wanted it to be that. But it's very gritty, it's very raw. But it's but in a realistic way, because it's historical fiction. But it really wasn't until watching The Walking Dead that it made sense to me of like what desolation and lawlessness really actually meant in a practical way. It really had to hit me in the kind of a left field type of a way, like, oh, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, this is what it's when you're out there and there's like literally no one and nothing and you're on your own. This is what on your own means, and there's danger around every corner. No zombies. I'm just saying that's where it clicked in my head. Like, because I think that if you were a Walking Dead fan, I think that the story there is about not so much about we fight zombies. That's sort of a secondary story to the fact that it's like about survival, first of all, and it's about building community because you have to, and it's about the fact that people really are more dangerous than any threat that you could really find in nature or the world or even the fiction world of zombies, that kind of thing. So that's coming too. So it's not going to be like a Walking Dead thing. It's just that really made it click for me. So that's kind of what I'm working towards right now. That's my over the next couple of years, what's coming. This book, Another New World, followed by Big Bad Wolf, the paranormal thriller, followed by the Keaton Cookbook, followed by the first installment of Fields of Gold, which is the historical fictional Western. And then I've got tons more after that. Tons. So stay tuned. I want you to also be able to enjoy stuff that I do that's not Buster related. And I also want to bring the people who are like, oh, well, I like horror, I like paranormal, I like things like that, I like Westerns. I want to bring them into the fold as well, and maybe turn them into Keaton fans also. I'm trying to homogenize here, and that's where the Facebook page kind of comes into it. I'm trying to bring everything together, and because I've got so many irons in the fire. I think that just confuses people, or it just sort of kind of goes over, and I'm getting kind of tired of bombarding my actual friends with just advertisements about what I'm doing. It's kind of bothersome to me. So I'm working towards that, the Facebook page. Okay, so I've got one more super cool, so thanks for sticking around, one more super cool point of interest that I'm able to share with you at this time. Sleeps. I had been asked directly after we'll double back here a little bit. When the Keaton Chronicle came out with my artwork on the cover last summer, several people right away who were damn finos and subscribers, which, let me clarify also something real quick. I'm not a damn fino. I would like to be, but I've always stayed out of the organization, not because I don't want to be. I like a lot of those people, and I like that organization, and I like what they do, and I look forward to their monthly emails. But I'm not a member. I'm not a subscriber, because I always kind of felt like I needed to be more impartial, and that might just be my thinking, because I'm not, exactly sure that it, I just didn't want it to seem like I was serving anyone with the, or doing the bidding of anyone through, by being a part of the organization. Through no fault of their own, no pressure they put on me or anything one way or the other. I'm not saying that. I just felt like it was more, as somebody developing Buster content, it was probably a more integrous. There was more integrity in not being a part of it. And that's the only reason I've not ever joined. I've always wanted to. Maybe someday I can. It's not, there's not a bad reason or a negative reason I've never joined. Like it's too expensive or I don't like the people. Certainly not. No. And I definitely encourage anybody, who wants to join. And the conventions are great fun. Absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love, Muskegon and Bluffton and being by the water like that. It's so fantastic, and I couldn't recommend it higher. To any, if you're curious about going, you know, absolutely, absolutely do it. I don't get to go up there as often as I'd like. Just my schedule just won't permit, you know, and work, especially like, you know, how working like I've been working on this is not really not that unusual. This has just been a little bit extreme for me. So, I do recommend it. Absolutely. If you are a fan, if you've been thinking, is this for me? Isn't it for me? There's a lot of fun benefits there. And a lot of cool people to meet. And so join the organization, go there. No, they didn't tell me to say any of this, of course. I'm just saying it's the only reason I have not actually literally become a damn Fino member is just because it felt to me like I didn't want people looking at my content thinking, well, she is beholden to this organization. Like, she has to do what they say. No, if you thought that at any point, no, nobody tells me what to do, okay? On ever, on anything, for better or worse. So, that's just, I felt like, I know that there's plenty of, people who are in the organization who have, you know, and have been for years, who've turned out, you know, very reliable Buster materials and things like that. It was just, it's just a personal choice. So someday, hopefully, maybe, I will think like, okay, well, I don't think it so much matters anymore, but that's just the only reason I have it. So, you know, but you can take my word for it. It's a good organization. But, as soon as so yeah, I've always been on the outside of it. So, but as soon as that cover came out in that edition of the Chronicle, I got a lot of questions from people asking me who'd read the interview and who saw the artwork. Said, "Can I buy the artwork? Can I, you know?" Because some people knew I sold on Redbubble, which also I don't only just have Buster stuff there. I've got nearly 1,000 designs there of everything you could possibly imagine. And again, the starving artist trope is real. So, so it's not just Buster. I've got all kinds of all different types of things there. And I always say about my shop that it's very LGBTQIA plus friendly, because there's a lot of different sizes to fit different bodies, and I make a lot of designs that I think at one point, I'm kind of waiting to find out about this, but a year or so ago I just sold an absolute ton of this one particular neon type design, neon stars. Yeah, maybe if you guys see this, you can report back. It's like neon stars, kind of 80s looking, that are stacked up in multicolor on a black background, and I sold a absolute, I mean, like 500 A-line dresses and pairs of leggings and pants and shirts. And I thought, like, somebody's stocking their store somewhere, or they're outfitting a dance troupe. So if you're watching some sort of entertainment show and you see that design, like I've been watching like AGT, like waiting to see if that was going to turn up, because I couldn't fathom why anybody would. I mean, I don't want to stop anybody from doing it. I'm just saying I didn't know why anybody would buy that many of one design. And so there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff there. Now the website doesn't make it easy to search through. You're on your own as far as that. I've emailed them multiple times saying, can we please have an internal search function? And they're like, no. So whatever. But go there and look for stuff. There is Buster stuff. There's non-Buster stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. Really helps me out in the long run. Helps me keep the lights on so I can keep doing this kind of thing. Same with book when it becomes available. But let me, you know, get back on track here instead of ambling all over the place. But I was asked right away if that design was going to be available on shirts or available for posters or pillowcases, whatever. And I had to tell a lot of people, first of all, I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. You know, my head was in another place, so I wasn't ready to field, like, I wasn't ready with that, you know, I need to make this available. And then I had to tell these people, no, it's not available, because at the time I just didn't know if I was going to get to use it for the cover or not, if I was going to pursue professional, or rather traditional publishing, if they were going to allow me to use the cover, if it was going to be a big no-no. But since I kicked that to the curb, what's going on now is I am excited to announce that I will be making that design available for sale. As well as the artwork for O Buster, Where Art Thou, which is the silhouette with the words across it. That's another one of my designs. And they will be available in my shop. And the thing about Redbubble is they've got, you can choose that design or those design, whatever design you want, and you could have it put on their line of products: t-shirts, dresses, hoodies, bed sets, metal wall prints, paper posters, stationery, a bucket hat, like anything you could think of pretty much that you would want, you can get any design there. And obviously not just my own, but I will be making the portrait of my magical realism portrait of Buster, where he's aged in the foreground and his very young self is behind him in the background in black and white. That's the one I'm referring to. And I will have a design where it's that plain design, and I will have a design where it's going to be like the book cover, because it's not going to change like fundamentally. It's still going to be that image, but I have some things I'm going to do to it, and then it will have the text of the Another New World. So there will be 2 versions of it available soon, as well as the artwork for the movie Oh Buster, Where Art Thou? Those are going to enter my shop soon, and therefore I will start advertising them on my socials pretty soon. They're not there yet. There is other Buster stuff there, but not those just yet. So if you know people who have expressed interest in it, this is the time to let them know. If you're interested in it, just keep an eye on my socials, and it'll be coming soon, because I have to go and do it, and I have to finish the edit first, and that's still going to take me a couple 3 more weeks to get through all of that. And then I can go on to doing that. So sometime, let's say in the next couple of months, that will be available for sale again on any product that you can think of, whether it be a notebook or a bed set or a t-shirt or a hat, whatever you like. So that's coming soon as well. I may or may not have the Facebook page established by that point, but that also is coming. It's at some point. So coming up here on the what's going on with me is going to be a me-centric Facebook page to kind of tie everything together: the art, the books, the book and upcoming books, and upcoming art, and a movie, and announcements with all of that stuff. And then that art will be available very, very soon. So again, if you have any questions, comments you want to throw my way regarding art or the book or whatever, that's fine. You can hit me up on my socials. I always post them in the description of these videos, so that you can find it all easily. And then if you want to follow or because that's another thing too. There's a subscription of possibility on Facebook, but nobody seems to really be using it that much. They just want to be my friend, which is fine. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that I kind of want to stop using my Facebook exclusively for promoting myself. It feels a little weird at this point, and I've just got so much going on. So I'm going to try to create an outlet for that. But still, all of these things are a couple, 3 weeks away at least, while I finish this edit. So in the meantime, send your good vibes to me so that I don't just completely go insane while I'm finishing this up. This has just been tremendously hard work. Writing for me is something that, and art as well, it's not something, I don't sit at the typewriter and scream, or typewriter, Christ. I don't sit at the computer and scream and cry and get upset and angry. It doesn't work like that for me. If I'm running into problems, something's wrong, and I have to figure out what the problem is and get over it, get through it, get, past it. But, this is just, and I usually don't have to work as hard as I had to work on this entire project. But like I said, there's been so many restrictions and so much true information that I had to adhere to. It's been a completely different situation. So I'm kind of going Looney Tunes at this point, but I'm hoping all of this gets done soon, and that when I'm going to move on, I have some photo editing and preparation work I have to do. I have to pick my final photos that are going in, because I've got in my archive, you know, probably a good 1,000 photos, or if not more. So I got to pare that down to have some photo sections, and decide what's going to be most important to the story, and what's most important to that particular era of Buster's life and the people in it. So that's what's going on. I will be back again at the beginning of next month, first Thursday of next month, with whatever new information I've got regarding whatever I'm doing. So another one of these. Week after next Thursday, I'll be back for another installment of Million Movie Project. I don't know what it's going to be about just yet. We talked about Star Wars quite a bit, so there was your preview about what Million Movie Project is like. So I might just pick up and do some, you know, some franchise talking there. So we'll see. It's a little bit hard to get creative and work on other things at this time with my mind so singularly focused. But, so yeah, just send me your good vibes so that I hopefully get through this in a timely manner without any problems, or anybody causing me problems, any outside forces causing me problems. Like I've been saying, support striking workers, support unions, unionize your workplace, join a union, find a union. They're out there to help, and I will see you in a week after next for Million Movie Project here again, or in a month from now if you just want to hear about my doings. I will see you guys again soon, and I hopefully will have my Brian in one place. So everybody take care, be safe, support unions, and I'll see you soon. Bye!